Lesson 3. Okay. A very good morning to Bhante, Dr. Mahinda. Today we are going to discuss an interesting topic, and Dhamma folks, welcome back to BMV dialogue series number 6. Our last dialogue session happened in January with Uncle Vijaya and myself. And for those people who might not know about Bhante Dr. Digali Mahinda, he is a very famous academic scholar. He has obtained his PhD from the University of Chicago for a very interesting topic. It was about marathon preachers, and he later on he published his book under New York, popularizing under the title of Popularizing Buddhism in the New York State University Press, Sunny Press. And here at Buddhist Mahavihara has invited him now for the second time. We actually met in your first time as well last July. And in this time he has been giving Dhamma talks mostly on Fridays and Sundays about very interesting topics. How does Chakravarti Sihanada Sutta work in the modern context, and so on and so forth. And Bhante Dr. Digali Mahinda was a professor. Now he is the emeritus professor at Bath Spa University in the UK, and he is currently professorial research fellow at the School of Oriental and African Studies at the University of London in the UK. Bhante Dr. Mahinda, very warm welcome to you on behalf of the Buddhist Mahavihara. And today's topic is going to be quite interesting. We are going to look at a very, I would say, largely ignored area of a very famous Buddhist concept. I would say the concept is mostly misused, abused by some. The concept is Anicca. So we're going to put the topic to be finding opportunities in Anicca, or change. Most people call it impermanence. Oftentimes people don't think that there is an opportunity with the concept of anicca, because they think that anicca is always negative. So we have to understand, experience all our negative events, loss, kind of a grief, a death of somebody, maybe aging. All these seem to be a little bit of difficult emotion, difficult things for people to see, and they all brandish, label them as to be anicca. But if we look at the word, Pali word anicca, which means it's going beyond impermanence. It has change. There are positive changes and there are negative changes. So today we are looking at how to look at those positive changes along with the negative changes as well. So how to find opportunities in this beautiful concept. Change is such a beautiful concept, and even some politicians have used this to be their political narrative in their election campaign, and it has worked out very well because people like to be changed, transformed. Bhante Dr. Mahinda, can we start our discussion by identifying what does anicca mean to you, and then and we can then discuss about how does anicca refer to the Pali teachings. So could you elaborate on anicca in your
thank you for Venerable Chandima, Dr. Chandima, for inviting me for this series. And it is a pleasure to have a discussion with you. We had last September also one. And I think you have selected a very nice topic today. And for me, the notion of change, transformation, or anicca, or what we call it in English impermanence, is the most beautiful concept that Buddha proposed. And I think Buddha is unique among the religious teachers to identify a natural phenomenon and identifying as anicca or impermanence. And actually, this is the central concept of Buddhism, not other ideas like dukkha. So I see that anicca or impermanence as the central pillar of Buddhism and foundational Buddhism. And also it is the Buddha's great contribution to the world civilization. So if you think about the 19th century, for example, in the West, Charles Darwin, in The Origin of Species, for example. See, the evolution, theory of evolution is very much, in a way, affirmation of this idea of impermanence. See, the Buddha did not use the word in exact way evolution, but when you look at the Chakravarti Siyanada Sutta, you see that the change is almost look like evolution. So if you think about 1800 and 2500 years ago, the time period, it's amazing that Buddha discovered this noble or very valuable true dharma, true ruta, the kind of natural rhythm in the world which we call impermanence. Of course, for the Buddhism, they are connected with, we call trilakshana or tilakkana, three characteristics, anicca, dukkha, and anatma. Now, I am going to explain it a little bit more later, but I think both the dukkha, and dukkha which we translate unsatisfactoriness, and no self, both of them are meaningless without the notion of anicca. Because anicca is the one underlying principle both in the notion of suffering and notion of no self. So really, one could argue in Buddhism, there are no three characteristics, but there's one characteristic. That one characteristic is anicca, impermanence, and the change. And that's the one which translated into or shown more graphically in terms of dukkha, but more philosophical level, in a philosophical ultimate language as no self. But underlying the heart of the principle is the impermanence which runs through.
Very interesting. Bhante, Dr. Mahinda, now many people who might be watching our discussion today could be kind of alien to this, probably the layman version of anicca. So how would you introduce this anicca, the first characteristic, or maybe change? I think you would accept to use it as change. Probably there are other connotations that might go around when you say impermanence, permanence, impermanence, right? So how would we introduce this anicca to layman's life? Can we start with that point too?
Yeah, I think this notion of anicca we can see in the natural world. Like, for example, in tropical countries, the sun rises in the morning, and then sun, at the noon time it goes to the very high, and then gradually
setting by the evening
descends, and then sunset in the evening. So this rita, the system always happen every day. That's in a way like a phenomenal way.
But do you think people look at it as a change? People don't look at it as anicca. I mean the social version. Now here in Malaysia, I think most Malaysian Chinese people who are watching our discussion, they would like to see sunrise and sunset. They would very much like to see that. Do you think, probably you might not be very much aware, but what do you think that, do people perceive that those natural changes, or maybe we can talk about their personal life?
I think
as anicca.
I think because I think we are quite subjective, and we all like to see things as more in stable situation. So we tend to not to observe these changes. So that's why the Buddha's discovery is important, because Buddha discovered that this is the fundamental guideline that works through everything, but in our naked eye we rarely witness it, or we don't like to recognize it. Like, for example, Buddhism would say that two of us came to here 9:30. We are not either Chandima or Mahinda who came 9:30 now, because now it's 10:10 or 10:30. In our time, in 1 hour time, even though we cannot observe it in the naked eye, we got older.
A lot of changes have been happening.
Lot of changes happen, subtle changes. It may be very drastic changes.
Oh, very subtle.
All of a sudden, and so this kind of I mean, these ruptures, sometimes we can see in cyclones and tornadoes and earthquakes and so on, very happening rapidly, but this change is gradually happening. Even the sunrise is same, you know, the time of sunrise, it's also not the same every day, it changes, yeah. So the same our lifestyle, and so we don't observe this natural principle, or we do not witness it. And also, it's a scary thing. It's a scary thing for someone to say everything is changing, because our whole wishes are we wanted to have it permanence, everything. I mean, we talk about relationships, we talk about love, we talk about marriage, we talk about having children, and people assume, like if you're a parent, you always assume your child will be with you forever. You know, for them it's hard to digest that, you know, when the child goes to school at age 5, and then go to high school, and then go to the university, you know, they become distant from the parents, little by little. Like that change of the individuals and the life cycle, people cannot take it. They cannot take it. Yeah. And same in our situation, like even our job situation. You know, the changes happening in workplace. You know, we usually tend to blame to our boss, or the co-worker, or the government, or rules, or anybody. We find a scapegoat to let out our frustration.
And we blame for our incompetency sometimes, right?
Incompetence. And also we very hardly recognize my incompetence. Very rarely.
I think that's that's an interesting dimension to talk about after now. We were talking about how to recognize changes in our life, especially from a layperson's perspective. And you brought up some natural things that we can witness. And on the other side, why people are not able to witness them sometimes. Probably.
I think it's scary.
The fear is one thing. And the other thing is that maybe they are not very much aware as well. To understand the subtle and then those drastic or maybe big changes.
I think the beauty of the Buddhism is, I think, it kind of point out to the people, you have to pay attention to it. But you pay attention not only once, throughout your life. I mean, that's where the meditation, I think, become important, because meditation is basically observing this phenomenon, you know, how your mind works and so on. And the mind is a good example. Because we can, you know, I can keep my legs here and my hand here, and we can stay here for 1 hour, but our mind can easily go. Like even I am talking, sometimes my mind can run away to incident that happens. So the kind of, they are actually the change, it's more quick and very subtle and hard to control.
So you think that the inherent nature of the mind knows pretty much about change, that's why it's getting distracted. We are the ones who are focusing it, right?
That's right.
Let's say now we are talking here, and somebody is watching us, and then while they are watching, why the mind wants to jump from one object to the other object?
Run away.
Mind itself needs change, but we are the one who are trying to
prison it.
And then stay mindful and all that.
The reason for that is selfishness, basically, because we want to bring to our mind, so we have more control over it, you know, because that's
kind of a self-centeredness.
Self-centeredness, because we want to see that, you know, even in Buddhism we say that our mind and body should be integrated, our words should be integrated. That means this change in phenomena, we have to have managed more meaningfully, so that they could be used for our own benefit, so that we can focus better on our daily activities and we can do things better, so we do not, you know, kind of deviate from our path and so on. So there is a beauty, because this natural process you have to manage. You know, the change is happening. So the Buddhism also says that you need to manage this change. You know, this natural process, you have to kind of work with it. You cannot, in a natural process, but you have to work it, manage it, and organize it. I think meditation technique is probably that organization system, kind of say that.
So what you suggest is we have to manage change too. We can manage sometimes.
Yes.
That is, okay, let's discuss that later on.
Yeah.
Before we jump on to further things about this topic, could you elaborate on something? Maybe you can answer this straightforward. Is an understanding about the change really beneficial to the progress of layperson's success in their lay life? What do you think about it? Normally,
it is essential.
How does it work for a layperson to succeed in lay life?
Yeah.
Not in the spiritual life.
Yeah. See,
let's say they work, they study, they make money.
Yeah.
Relationship. How does understanding of Anicca help them build up their life?
Yeah, because this is very traditional explanation. We know these 8 vicissitudes, kind of the
Lokadhammas,
8 ups and downs.
Yes.
And this is very much the world of the lay person. Yeah.
Could you share with us what?
Labha, alabo, ayaso, yasocha, ninda, pasancha, sukancha, dukkha.
All these are changes. So labha is a gain.
Benefit.
Alaba is a loss.
Loss.
Ayasa means what do you call bad reputation. Yasa means good reputation. Labu, alabu,
Ninda is
Ninda means
blame.
Criticism. Pasansa means compliments. And then sukha means happiness. Dukkha means unhappiness. So Buddhism primarily believes that nobody is ever happy and nobody is ever unhappy.
Yeah.
Nobody is ever profited. Nobody is ever lost.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a rotation.
But there is a kind of disclaimer there, though.
What is that?
The disclaimer is that enlightened persons is able to go a little bit beyond that, no?
Kind of a more what do you call?
You are not get frustrated with it because you have an understanding. I mean, you asked earlier whether we should have a knowledge of it.
Yeah, but that's not mundane happiness.
Not mundane
that's
happiness.
Extra mundane, supramundane happiness.
Yeah.
But for lay people, when they are dealing with their happiness. Their happiness based on the people, how they, the loved ones and the work people, and how they behave with their reaction. Say for instance, there is a mother and father, they have children, and they have to always work with these children to provide them food, whether they like or not, to bring them to school. Sometimes there may be some arguments happening, children don't want to listen. Maybe husband and wife. So it's sometimes difficult to maintain the happiness in household.
Equanimity.
Yes, so changes are happening. So how are they supposed to accept the change? Is it helpful them to maintain the happiness? If they understand the changes in their family household, would that understanding be helpful for them to maintain their happiness in the household?
I think there is a fundamental thing, because fundamental thing is that we like ourselves better or best. And I think Buddha is right saying that everybody like happiness. Everybody like to live long, because these, we usually call basic necessities, but beyond basic necessities, and basic necessities is actually one way of having happiness, but once you have the basic necessities met, then you wanted to keep more stable, peaceful, calm.
Kind of a long-standing happiness at that point.
A relaxed way, even in mundane way. I mean, if you think about our activities, daily activities, why we go to parties, pubs, and other festivities, and travels, and all of this, it's very exhausting things. But we do that because we think that at least for time being, you can have happiness because you meet people that you like, and you meet people that you can have a decent conversation, and you have some decent food that you like. So momentarily, we have certain gains. And I think we are, in general, human beings, but also other animals and so on, we are bound to like happiness, dislike discomfort. That's,
Sukha kama, dukkha patikula.
Patikula. And that's nature. But the nature is, it's all the happiness or comfort has the potential to change.
Yeah.
Because when the conditions change around it, the result is you have discomfort. Even in this chair, when we came in 9:30, it was very comfortable.
Yeah.
But 10:30, it wouldn't be this comfortable as it
would not be that same comfort.
Not same comfort.
But at that point, I want to bring up something interesting. There was a professor that I know. He told me a very nice. Maybe we can relate that to your analysis. He said that he used to go to a faraway university in down south in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So he's taking an intercity bus to go there.
From Colombo
so
to Gold.
Colombo to Madara, actually. So he sits down on a comfortable seat.
Yeah.
So now the bus is going. So he sat down in the normal way. Now he thinks he wants to turn to the right side, bring the legs to the right side. He thinks happiness is there. Yeah. And after probably 1 more hour, he thinks now
happiness is on the left.
Maybe to the left.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then after maybe another hour, at that time it took some time to go to those places. And he thinks now it is better to stand now, but you can't stand.
Yeah.
So in that analysis, as you said, what we understand on the other hand is that there is another happiness that is arising. That is not that you enjoying the moment, but even the shifting of that activity onto another activity in the same field, or maybe different, also happiness. Let's say now we were sitting here. After some more minutes, maybe within a space of time, we are standing, maybe we are sitting on another chair.
We want to walk up, go run. Or
yes,
walk,
yes. Maybe we want to sit on another comfortable cushion. Yeah. So I think that means happiness is temporary. Shifting the happiness also kind of happiness. That means shifting means change.
Yeah, because this is where I think valuable thing comes. We talk about consumer culture now in the modern world. The consumer culture is exactly that. Suppose that you wanted to have a brand new phone, for example. You hurried and get it very quickly. Then after a few weeks, it becomes same like the old phone because you don't have that.
You got very familiar with the phone and
familiar, not that fascinated, and then you
think there may be a better phone out elsewhere.
Yeah, and you want to get that one.
Yeah.
So like that, because I think we tend to kind of I forgot the ants, who move from one leaf to the another, like grasshopper. We are like a grasshoppers. We kind of we get very unsettled with one situation. We want to move to the next one, thinking that is the green and comfortable.
Interesting.
And that's where I think this consumption culture also comes. Because the consumption.
So the attitude behind, perception behind the consumer culture is also changed.
It's changed, yeah. And also the kind of the psychological and physical situation, we don't want it to be in the kind of structured and organized and little bit prison-like situation all the time. And also, we always like to be free. That's there too, because you want to say, I'm fed up with it, I want to move to the next stage. So that's kind of the change. Also, I think in that way, we also looking for the change. But that change that we look for has to be quality-wise better than the change that we experienced before. So that once you don't get that quality-wise rich experience, then you become depressed because you think, today is a bad day, or raining, or I cannot go for a walk, or I cannot play cricket or volleyball or something, because there are other conditions in the situation which makes it impossible, or the road block.
Do you mean that people at that point withdraw from themselves, from the situations?
Some do.
Let's say there's someone who has been changing maybe food. They say, today I go eat from one restaurant, and tomorrow I am going to go to another restaurant. But one day you feel that today I don't want to eat anything, and then I'm not going to eat anything today. So sometimes that may be also another happiness. Another
happiness, and actually sometimes
maybe not persistent.
Yeah, but also sometimes it helps with your health also, no?
Yeah.
Because if you overconsume,
yes,
and your body needs some rest also.
Some rest.
And
maybe
also
detoxifications.
Yeah, and also you consume less calories. So that also kind of give you little comfort, because actually we know it. If you don't eat a lot a day, the day is lighter and easier for our sleep also.
Interesting.
So the change is, I think, happening.
So there are a lot of changes differently happening.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Every moment. But not being able to go with that change and accept the situation, what's happening, is the problem.
It's the dukkha.
It's a dukkha.
That is dukkha.
Yeah.
I think adding on to that, now we are going on to our topic.
Yeah.
Finding opportunities in anicca, Bhante.
Yeah.
Now, we have come to a very interesting dimension of our discussion.
Yeah.
Now we discuss about anicca and basic things that we should know about anicca, what are the subtle major changes. Now we have to find out, especially from the layperson's eye, how do we use anicca to benefit us? Not only to become an arahant one day, but also become very successful in our emotional structure, framework, in our house, in their household, in their workplace. So, Dhamma wise, we have come to the point that anicca, dukkha, anatta, they are all connected. They are all linked. Now, you came to a point that when someone is not accepting, observing, accepting, not fully understanding the change, then there comes the dukkha. Because actually when someone passes away, when a demotion happens, when someone loses money, the more that person does not understand, the more dukkha is going to come out. So now you can discuss that after. But
I can tell example. And in my earlier job, you know, I was not quite happy going to the classroom. So I wanted to kind of devote more time for research, and so I said I'm going to get a voluntary redundancy. And a lot of people do not understand it, even though I am eager to kind of take the voluntary redundancy and move from that place to another. Most people think it's very unsatisfactory situation. But personally, I thought that is the best option I could take.
That is your peace.
Peace, and you can take away all the red tape and bureaucratic things, anxieties and meetings and all of that. But then the society always kind of bound with status. You know, being
not even they are concerned about their emotions, but also they are very much perceived and bombarded with what is happening to other people.
Even the words like retired, you know, retired or, you know, giving up the job and so on, people cannot digest it. But I think in your life, I think you have to make decisions, you know, when the circumstances change in your work environment, and when you notice that things are out of control, and also you see opportunities somewhere else, you know, so opportunities to travel, opportunities to concentrate on what you want to do, you want to take those opportunities, and you don't want to get stuck in the
cage in one place.
Because they, like, especially what happened to many people is people don't have the freedom. Because you are bound to work 30 years, 40 years in a job, or if you leave early, you don't get a pension.
Maybe they are going through stereotypes. Religiously, socially, culturally, and sometimes they want to, but they cannot make it.
They cannot. They have no choice.
No choice. They're choiceless. They are being made to be choiceless.
And
but they think, this gentleman, this lady, is doing something interesting, but they cannot go there. They can go there in a way.
And also because this change is happening, the workplace in particular changing all the time, and the you know, the job that you go to work in the first place is not the same job in 10 years time. Even shorter time, anywhere. And even today, nowadays, it's even 1 year. It changes, and so sometimes the job become unbearable, and then you should be able to handle the change. You know, whether you kick your head in the workplace or you find another alternative. So I think the change is happening in the workplace, in your life, in your family, and so on. And then you have to say, what is your choice? What makes you happy? What makes you, kind of relax and you find you lost opportunities. I think change is a very good one because we cannot control the environment.
Yeah.
With the workplace.
Rather we become a part of the change.
Part of
in a nice, best way.
But best way, and you have to, as you say, because you want to change and opportunities, and people have to be open-minded to see what I want to achieve, because we none of us going to live 100 years. I mean, we are lucky if we go hit 100, but more likely we are between 50 and somewhere in between. So that means the prime time is 50 years, and the remaining one is uncertain. So in life, there are so many things to do. Once you are stuck in a particular place or job, you have a limited world. And limited opportunities. So this change in the world is not bad then. Because actually, now I want to relate it into the Buddha. See, we think that enlightenment is important, being Buddha is important, being an Arahant is important, being an Anagami and so on important, yeah? But all this is possible because of change. See, if we cannot change ourselves, our situation is, the attainment is not possible. So that's the beauty of this Buddha's teaching, because there are possibilities there. Your situation, you can change it. You can transform it. And that initiation comes from you, not from somebody else, from your parents or friends or organizations or something. You have to make a choice. You have to make a choice and work on, handle the change. And Buddha is a good example of it. Because suppose that if he remained as a prince, and if he was happy to be a king, he wouldn't discover how to solve the human problems. Because he was bold enough to renounce, to test all these ascetic practices and undergo all these nice comfort, and then he realized neither of work for me. So being in the middle is the right one, and then he was able to address other people. So the Buddha is a good person who managed the change very much in both material sense and also spiritual sense. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dr. Mahinda, now looking at our topic, finding opportunities in Anicca, so can you share some tips, some steps that lay people can do to benefit from, maybe to get some opportunities out of this concept, especially in their lay life?
Yeah.
What are the tips? What are the things that they can do to get benefited from Anicca to better their life?
Yeah, I already mentioned about this work in life and how I change the job. Like say, for example,
so time to time you need to consider
your work.
It might be
where you work, and what kind of you work, and also at the same.
So you don't have to work in one place.
No. And also you have to, and there's another point that I did not mention. You also have to think about financial implications, because this is very important. I mean, yesterday we also came to this idea, the importance of wealth. Some kind of, you cannot give up a job if your financial situation is uncertain.
Tied up, and then
that's kind of restriction.
I think people are feared to do a career change. That is why now what you are saying is that it is important to consider for a change, maybe not a career change, maybe a change in the workplace. But the problem is a lot of people have the fear of finding another work. Now you see after the COVID-19 recession,
after
inflation,
a certain age is difficult.
So how? But still, it's a good idea.
It's a good idea
to have a change. In your
my
workplace.
Case, I find a lot of happiness. Suppose that if I work in the university full time, I wouldn't be able to come to Malaysia. I won't be able to come and stay in the
at Mahavihara, Buddhist Mahavihara, and witness in your own eyes.
And also now I find that I have time. I can make decisions, and I don't have to get permissions get approval to
from universities.
Because universities always you have to get approval for even anything. You can, like Monday to Friday, you are bound to do the things at the university, and so you cannot just jazz out whenever you want. Because you are a worker. And this is similar in any working environment, because you cannot just jazz off when you want.
So what you are saying is that it's better to be somewhere. Maybe there is someone whose work is always good to that person. He or she likes the change within that workplace. But what you are saying is that there are a lot of people who are not happy being in one place. So that's one thing. So consider.
I think they have to ask first thing, what do you want? What do you want to achieve? What are your ambitions? What do you want to see? I think people have to do a reality check. What in 5 years or 8 years, 10 years, what I wanted to achieve, and think about it, and then do a reality check, your workplace and your finance and so on. And then if you have a very strong idea that I want to achieve in 5 years, this goal, and you have to measure it up with your current work, whether you can reach there. And if you cannot, you should take the new option, because that's a choice that you make, and that can make you happy because you made the choice, not nobody else. So from my understanding is that people have to always be self-reflective, consider the environment, their obligations to themselves, to the family and the workplace, and then ask in the long term what I want to do. That's, I think it's actually a spiritual question too, from a Buddhist perspective, whether I wanted to progress in my religious path, whether I wanted to attain certain stage in academic or religious life or something. People should have a goal, at least they should work hard on it. And then I think you can overcome the change, because change, the reaction to change is because we don't have our own drive to achieve something, because you complain about
maybe the urge as well. No urge, no imperative within us to be changed, transformed.
Change, and also to look.
And sometimes people don't like to be changed too. When you tell something, probably you can. No, I don't want to be changed. You should not tell me how to change. It's my. So that this kind of attitude also can be a problem.
Because it's rigid, too rigid. Because actually, if you are too rigid, you suffer more. That's normal anything, I think.
You're not bendable, flexible.
You have to adapt, no? Because this is what we learned from Charles Darwin. The theory of evolution. The origin of species and so on. His basic theory is survival of the fittest. So if you, the being who adapt to the environment, they survive longer. And now,
like dinosaurs, I heard that they were given an option: either you have to change or you have to die. And they said, no, we don't want to change, and then they died out. So
this can apply to even to Theravada Buddhism. Like even Theravada Buddhism, people don't have to take this negatively when I say it.
No, you are talking from a scholarly point, so I think it's good.
Theravada form of Buddhism, we consider as a very conservative and so on. And for example,
we are more to, not we actually, so-called school, although we are part of it in a way, they are more defensive to,
against the change.
Against the change,
Against the change,
But what kind of change do you mean do you mean that is applicable to the school Buddhism, Theravada?
Like for example, think the youth, our youth, and the most of the programs that we do, either local in Sri Lanka or abroad,
Viharas, Theravada Viharas.
We have a traditional structure, more or less. And this traditional structure is not appealing to the adolescents, the teenagers
and young adults.
Young adults. And now, if we don't address them, if we don't reach them, then we are not using the opportunities.
And our next generation will be not there at the same time.
And we cannot complain them converting to another religion or being atheists, because we are not organizing, if not the whole thing, but at least certain programs we are not developing to reach out to these kids. And
if not, another idea is that let the so-called school to keep their conservatism, and there should be another offshoot of school must come and then bring this to the normal people.
Yeah. Yes.
Because this is an ancient narrative.
Yeah, because what happened is that we are making a monk's religion for lay people. That's what's happened, yeah?
That's what's been happening in the Dhamma talks too.
Yeah.
People only learn what is applicable to a monk.
Yeah, monk or nun. And that's a very limited world.
Very liminal, confined, limited.
Limited world. Because real person, get up in the morning, go to work hard and return home.
And there are problems in the work and family.
And they need happiness.
Yeah.
So that's where I think the Buddhism should be the inspiration to give them some insight to deal with upside and down. I think working people know what change means because they go through it every day.
I think they are more embracing change than those people. So anyways, so the first opportunity that you are suggesting is workplace life.
Yeah.
Consider maybe.
But even family life.
I'm coming to that point.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to ask you about how does change benefit a relationship, maybe household. Let's talk about husband and wife. I would give you a hint. The hint is that let's say there is a wife, there is a husband. If they both try to understand each other at different times, that is more to bringing anicca, change to their perspective. Sometimes when two people get together, they don't bring that buffer zone. That buffer means that, okay, I'm like this is my money, your money, and we go on our own ways. I'm talking from an Asian, how it applies to Asian version. So how is anicca going to be very beneficial for a couple to run their family with their children?
Let's take example. A couple meet at the university, graduate when they are 24, they get married at 25, they have 2 kids by 30, yeah? So it's a typical
normal situation.
Typical example. So now they met at the university when they are 20, yeah? And when they are 30, they have 2 kids. Now 10 years has passed, the couple think, both party may think, the other person should be as it was when they were 20. They assume that the opposite spouse should be or treated him
like
or her.
How they were in their how they were falling into love, maybe start the relationship.
Like the first time they met or dated or that time, they assume that
this mostly come from ladies, I think. The most females think that I should be loved in the same way how the man first loved me, but when they got into marriage, they see each other all the time, stay together, I think there will be changes. But yes.
Yeah, the physical fact is they have grown up 10 years.
Yes.
And the environment has changed.
Yeah, conditions also have changed.
They are not carefree, and they have other obligations. They are financial obligations,
children,
and the social obligation. Take care of parents, relatives, and help in the temple.
So their main thing has gone out, and other things have taken over.
Come up.
Yes.
And also physically they are weaker.
Yeah.
Physically they are weaker.
Very fatigued. Exhausted.
And imagination is also gone.
Yeah.
Because like when you're 20, you are more romantic and you can appreciate the beauty and so on.
Yeah.
And then when you're 30, they are all gone.
And at the same time, when the both are going to be very much tired with all these things, their beauty can easily fade.
Yeah, fade.
So they don't see both of them anymore attractive at that point, right?
And also tolerance. Earlier maybe little things like sweet word.
At that time, they were very sensitive to even to one word.
Yeah, it was fascinating.
Yes.
But after 10 years, even that word doesn't trigger anymore.
Yeah.
And then there are problems because you don't want to accept that you have changed too. Because you may not even say in that word now after 10 years to the other person. So that you cannot expect the other person to be with you because there's no communication in words, in appearance, in company or in other things, and so sometimes you may spend more time in your mobile phone or your TV rather than your spouse. So I think the reason is that we are self-centered. We forget that we also have changed. But if you think that I also have changed, she may have changed, so I cannot expect the original situation in 20s, there's a possibility of positiveness, positive rethinking.
Okay.
Rethinking, re-evaluating, and
now,
then...
what you are saying is that now in that example, the couple, they have been together for 10 years. Within those 10 years, they have fallen in love, married, found work, now they have children. Now all these are changes. Now the question is, now the changes have been happening in two ways. One way is that they are condition changes, physical changes. Now how does again change can help them to succeed? Now sometimes these are strange experiences for them, not happy ones. How does change on another layer is going to help them to become successful and happy?
I think that stage is where you need actually the Buddha's teachings more rather than in 20.
Okay.
Because at the 20, they had less obligations, less duties, and they were also supported by other parties more or less. But in 30s, all these situations change. And so more likely to have more discomfort because your expectation has been ruined. And in a marriage in particular, or in finding a partner, you always tend to find the perfect partner, but there are no perfect partners. There was only
rather accepting that person as a change.
Approximations. 50, 55, 60, 70, and so on. If you have someone more than 70, you're lucky, but very rare. Even that luckiness will not last after 10 years. So you have to think about that, how can I make things better for next 10 years? And then kind of come to a clean sheet of paper, write it down, all the negatives and the positives, and find a median ground to relate to the other person. I think that should be done, I think, especially in relationship. I think you have to do it every few years' time. You have to do that rechecking, where you were before and where you are now.
Where you were going to be.
And then kind of give analysis of strength and weaknesses.
Like
and
a SWOT analysis.
Yes,
strengths, weaknesses, threats and opportunities.
Opportunities and also resources available to change, like if you want to change. Even getting a divorce. Things like that, if it goes to the worst case, you have to kind of balance it out with your finance and other things, because ultimate aim is to find happiness. Whether the alternatives gives the better happiness. But I think once you get older, happiness decreases and dukkha increases. That's the normal thing. The reason is...
But do you still think... please go ahead.
The reason is because we are becoming weaker physically, and also we have lack of enthusiasm when you grow old, and also you are restricted by the conditions
around you.
Suppose that
you're not anymore working, you don't have the buddies that you had before.
No companions, no kalyana mitta.
No kalyana mitta.
Even your spouse is not a kalyana mitta.
How does change, understanding anicca, help someone to probably get rid of that situation? You may be physically kind of less enthusiastic, but in the modern world, as you know, things have been very digitalized, industrialized. And then looking at that time, now we always say, yes, as you said, as we age, discomforts are coming to us, more dukkha's are coming to us. This is true.
It's normal.
It's normal. But do you think that understanding change, not just understanding, let's say, someone is going through aging at this point, seeing the first white hair.
It's quite frustrating to see it.
Frustrating, like what happened to Makadeva, right? In the Makadeva story.
Even for us, when you see it, day by day, your hair becoming white.
Yes.
You're not there, but I'm still, reaching that stage, and when you see, there are more white hair appearing in the hair, and you wondered what's going on,
Yes.
So this, I think, if his monk feels that way, can you imagine a young man or young woman?
Yes.
it will be devastating for them, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Kind of this accepting this change, kind of.
I mean now, Bhante, Dr. Mahinda, now the society is challenging this notion. As you can see, if you go to a shop, you can see anti-aging creams.
Yeah.
Not even just hair
But
dye.
they are not real, no?
They are not real. They
Yeah.
are not real. I mean, there are people who still understand anicca,
Yeah.
who want to embrace.
Yeah.
But no, do you think that people have to feel negative about the changes? Let's say the hair is getting white. Physically, they are not very much okay.
I have two things there.
Yeah. But
One-
what can they do
Yeah.
to feel themselves good?
Yeah,
We don't want them to feel bad about
no,
themselves.
I think if they are looking for happiness or comfort, I think they can darken their hair.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Dye their hair.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect anybody. It's just give a little bit
Because
more.
feeling good is very important, right? Self-care, right?
Self-care and self-promotion.
Yeah.
And self-satisfaction, and also it builds their confidence. They can go to the workplace and present themselves as a very young and enthusiastic.
Even to come to the vihara, engage.
Yeah. Even the opposite sex. Even the opposite sex. They could be attractive because the other person, if you are female, they wouldn't think.
Now you
that
come from a Western background for many years. I think probably 40 years.
Yeah, nearly. Yeah.
40 years of time you have been in the United States, UK, and maybe other countries as well.
Japan also.
And you see that in the West, age has been a number.
Yeah.
And then for someone.
But in the West, people don't want to be. I mean, young people when they are 18 or until they turn 18, they want to be older. But once they graduate from the university, they are reluctant to accept they're getting older. Especially if you are 70, you don't want to feel like a 70.
Yeah. And in the West, they are not. It's not a normal thing to ask age.
Yeah. A discrimination.
It's a kind of a taboo because
it's a discrimination.
Discrimination asking, and then coming back to Asia, even in Sri Lanka, I think Malaysia is doing much better in that. If you go to Sri Lanka, you see a probably 60 years gentleman who wants to go for a walk, wearing the running shoes, and you see still that person will be stigmatized by the people. How come you are 60 years old? How come you are trying to stay fit? You should stay in a house and then go to the temple. You are an old man. You are an uncle.
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
Why you want to be young?
Why do you want to stay fit?
Yeah.
How do we address this kind of attitude?
I think that attitude is.
I think it's a very good thing that he is trying to maintain. So I think there's an anti-sexual idea about.
Yeah, and also that attitude is unhealthy and unacceptable, because Buddha says that in Dhammapada, Arogya Paramalava, Santutti Paramandana. Yeah. So the
health is the
best gift.
Best gain, yeah.
Yeah, best gain, and your happiness is the best gift. So these two things go together. Your health
and your happiness, joy.
I think they are kind of related.
Mutually constructive,
reinforcing each other. So suppose that even if you are 70, if you are physically active, I think you can overcome a lot of other unhappinesses.
Yeah, even akusalas. When you are stay active, you are creating a certain force to overcome akusalas. So when you are old, you are not taking care of yourself, akusalas easily attack you because you don't have enough cognition to do that, right?
Yeah, imagine 70-year-old person stays 24 hours in a 3-bedroom house with 2 or 3 families living there, grandparents, parents, and the grandchildren, and how annoying it would be 24 hours stay there. So if you go for 30 minutes, 40 minutes walk, you get fresh air.
And some socialization in a coffee shop or
and
somewhere.
You meet your old friends, and you made new friends, and then you get physically fit, and you can see the scenery and so on. There are a lot of benefits. So you can break the monotony.
And that is change also, anicca.
Yeah.
All that anicca.
And also dealing with the anicca, no?
Dealing with anicca. They have been going through anicca, and then on the other hand, they are bringing anicca to stay fit, stay good, feel good, and then to do well in the spiritual life.
And then, if you walk, usually, I mean, then you can see why the Buddha asks us to wander around, because it really has benefits on your joints.
I think the full body, right?
Full body.
Not just you.
Yeah, and for your heart, breathe in, and all the other
brain function,
and also skin,
and
so on. So, so the doing, I think for anybody, doing some form of exercise the best remedy rather than anything else for any age, for the young people or elderly people. Even the person who dies tomorrow, but if he does something, I think you can extend your life for 1 minute more, because I think there's a
that's a good karma for them.
Yeah,
and that's
good karma from others.
Others,
because other people don't
helping
have
others to survive.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that when you don't have a care home, how much the children and the relatives have to suffer, clean the person, give.
So they cannot do it. At least there is a place for them to.
And it become miserable to yourself and to people around you. And I think we all should wish that we should die naturally, without getting sick and without having any problem to anybody. Just like a flower falls from a tree, we just disappear, and that would be the best thing that we can hope for. But exercise would be a good thing to do in that situation. And the social stigma, actually, those people who criticize the people who exercise, actually they are more lazy people in thinking.
Maybe they are also not taking care of themselves, and they are putting that. Bhante, Dr. Mahinda, I want to recap because of the timing. So we will discuss one more thing very importantly. I want to recap what we have been discussing so far. We've been discussing a topic called finding opportunities in Anicca. And first we discussed about what is Anicca, the background of Anicca, and then how important it is. And then we've been discussing about how does Anicca help someone to benefit in his or her work life. Second, we talk about relationship, family, and all that. Now we have come to the spiritual part, finally. Now, as we know, Anicca, change, being able to understand all changes, dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, and anatta, not self. So then, our understanding is, the more we understand the changes that are happening to us, there is less dukkha. Dukkha is a huge resistance to the anicca. So dukkha arises when people are developing a huge resistance to accepting the dukkha. So they are connected. And then once, let's say someone is not understanding that there is dukkha, and then at the same time, with that dukkha, that person is considering everything, I, me, myself, and all that. So how does anicca help someone to practice well as a Buddhist, as a layperson in their life? So how would you describe anicca as a benefit to the spiritual life, not an understanding also? How does it benefit our spiritual life from a Buddhist point of view? I think with that we can finalize.
See, thank you for that very interesting question. So the anicca, or impermanence, is, as I mentioned earlier, central, and all the other concepts would not have born without it. So even becoming a Buddha is possible because of this idea of impermanence. So this idea that you are poor because you have bad karma in the past, you don't have opportunities because of you did something wrong in the past or something. There's a lot of misuse or misinterpretation of karma, for example, and that's have become the like a more cancer for Buddhist society, kind of prevent people to accept
practice.
Accepting change.
Kamma and anicca are the two largely abused, misused concept in Buddhism by many.
And so that kind of perpetuate this vicious circle of being lazy, parasited life. But I think the anicca says that even the karma, without some exception, can change. So this is the Buddha's point of view, that if you have a will, if you make an effort, if you make a righteous living, as we discussed in Pattakama Sutta yesterday, if you have a fair and just way of earning a living, and then you are mindful of your situation, you can make a significant difference in your life. And now, rather than complaining about this change, what we have to understand is to use that change for our mental, physical, and other forms of health and welfare. And so the point that suffering arises when our view that I, me, mine, everything should be mine, everything should stay here without any change, that mental construct is the drawback. So once we have that idea of permanency, it always hit the reality which is changing. So what we have to do is we have to understand those ideas and then manage the situation. Any unacceptable situation that come on your way, you have to find and kind of try to adjust it as much as possible. And then they may not be significant changes, but you can make some improvements.
Small changes.
Small
changes would be a better way to start off.
Yeah, and these small changes that you do little by little, in a year's time become big changes.
Can you share with us a small change, couple of small changes for lay people too?
Small changes, this is what I said, that I kind of, when the university has this scheme that you could get early retirement, I kind of, early I was joking to people, I want to retire early or leave the job early. And then I thought that when it came, I thought, yeah, I could take this opportunity because I could go to other countries, other libraries, and I could do more time for my own research. And I did that. And I always think, I'm a little bit optimistic. A lot of people are not optimistic. That's the problem. But I think every new challenge is an opportunity. And I think if you
challenges are opportunities all the time.
Challenges are,
but we think that they are going to change us badly.
Even a loss, like say not getting a job, not getting an interview, not getting a promotion, or not appointed to a certain committee, and so on. These things happen in life, yeah.
To all of us.
All of us happen, but I think at that point you should not frustrated and fight against it. But you always have to find where is the alternative. What can be done? What is in my capacity to change? That's the way I think we should work it out. We have to
understand.
And any loss that happened to you is a good lesson.
At the same time, it might be a disguised blessing. Disguised blessing.
Yeah. Disguise always the case. In my life, I have seen this. I have seen this, that the dream jobs that you expect, you never get. You won't.
But then, I think the beauty of understanding change in this perspective is that now you said you had dream. I think a lot of people have dreams. Now when you ask from children in their classroom, who do you want to be? I want to be this, that. But the destiny with your effort will change you. Finally, you will end up with the best one according to the society. Not your dream one. Maybe your dream is kind of,
it may be closer,
delimited, close one.
But it may trigger a new opportunity. Like this happens always in academy. Suppose that you write a grant proposal and you don't get it, but then suddenly you get an invitation, come and give a talk.
That is even worthier or maybe more prestigious than that one.
And then when you go to there, new opportunities come and say, oh, we have a 5-year...
Maybe better one. Better and higher one.
Higher one.
More prestigious.
And what you have to do is you have to put a little bit energy into it. And then it opens a new area.
New horizon, and then,
new field of studies begin. And that, as you see, I wrote on the history of Buddhist preaching tradition. But where am I? I am now. Moved so far away. Opportunities. It's like conflict, violence, war, international humanitarian law. Kind of like that. These are never...
So one good thing to do is that people have their own expectations to be who they want to be. But this is kind of an interesting thing that people have to do. when you have to be able to embrace opportunities
and creative.
changes, change onto that,
Yeah.
bring the change, and you need to be the change as well.
Yeah, instigate of the change.
Yes.
You have to be the instigator of the
Yeah.
change.
So
Yeah.
it's a very it will become a very beautiful change at the same time, high benefit
Yeah.
in everybody's life if they accept changes.
And also you are happy because you are the one who make the decision. The university doesn't tell you to do this.
Yeah.
Or the academics do not tell you to do this. It's you
Yes.
choose it. Oh, I want to do that. And because of that motivation, it's like the same as a Kutadanta Sutta, discusses, they say, give the grain and the money and so on, people who have desire to work,
Yeah.
who want to work hard.
Yeah.
And then it says that once it is given, they
It's like facilitation.
And the economy improves and the country becomes
No crimes happening.
no crimes. Yeah. And same with us. And then usually in an office you are supposed to work 7.5 hours or 8 hours, but if you choose the project, you are happy to work 12 hours, 15 hours. You don't mind working even Saturday and Sunday because you chose it.
Yeah.
Not somebody else tell you, dictate you. You do that. Yeah. So the change can come, can produce very beneficial result with some creativity, and also being flexible. This is very important for lay people because our rigidity, our structure, and our kind of stigma to stay. Oh, this is me, and I want to stick into it.
I don't want to be changed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the finish.
So finally, what we can say is stay adaptable, stay changeable. The greater good, better good will come to you in your lay life as a secular person, and in the supramundane
Even religious life.
Spiritually and religious life and everything.
Yeah.
You want to say anything else to conclude
No,
this?
I think
you already added
change is a blessing.
It's a blessing.
Yeah,
okay.
and change is not a curse. Change is a blessing, and change is time for creativity, rethinking, reevaluating, and also to think about that you want to achieve something that you haven't time or done before. So change is a good time to
maybe a rest too, career rest.
Career rest, and also personally, like what you really want to achieve in your life. The change is a good time.
Yeah, change is very good for your own happiness.
Happiness,
too. Yeah. Interesting. Bhante Doctor and Bhante Professor Digali Mahinda, thank you very much. And hereby we are going to conclude our BMB Dhammadana dialogue series number 6. Dhamma folks, today I had the interview discussion with Professor Bhante Digali Mahinda. He is the Emeritus Professor at Bath Spa University in the UK, and at the same time he is now a Professorial Research Fellow at the SOS School of Oriental and African Studies based in University of London at the moment. I hope that he will be visiting quite often and to share your knowledge. And I think you have found out another dimension in your life too. You said that you are more to academic life. When you come here to Buddhist Mahavihara, you get to know that there are different opportunities.
Pragmatic world.
As a scholarly practitioner, not as a scholar only.
Yeah.
I think we can adapt that.
Yeah.
We don't need to be just mere scholars in the rooms and
also
libraries.
new research interests emerge now.
Imagine. Maybe this could be an experimental research for you, maybe one day. Maybe Malaysian Buddhism and all that. Thank you very much, Bhante Dr. Professor Mahinda. And thank you, everybody. We will please stay tuned. We'll see you in another dialogue series. Thank you. හරිද? අපිට ගියා පැය විනාඩි 20 මුත නවත්තන්න බෑනේ අර ඉන්ට්‍රස්ට් එක